Welcome, welcome everybody. How are you doing today? It's so very nice to have you here. I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I hope that everybody is well. And my heart goes out to you and to everybody that is affected by this current crisis. I also want you to know that I'm well and that I'm staying at home as much as possible. So as we are settling more into our new routines, our stay-at-home routine and many other changes to our life, which, by the way, it looks like at least some of these changes are going to be here for a while. Many of us also experience that deeper call towards the inner, a deeper call to refocus our lives, to focus more on what really matters, which is peace, love, and freedom. And trust in our true nature, trust in presence, in what we know is true, is really an essential element of that. And it's an element that is needed, a very needed element for awakening, embodiment, and freedom. You know, so often we say we trust presence. We say, I trust presence, I want presence. We believe this. We say we trust the truth, we trust the teaching. And yet, as you know yourself on the inner, so often we still follow the patterns of the past. When I went to see my teacher Papaji in India, and if you would have asked me then, do you trust him, what he's saying? Do you trust the teaching? Do you trust presence? I would have said, of course, naturally I trust. However, that turned out to not to be true, because on the inner, I was still following the unfinished, unmet, unexamined patterns of the past. To really come to trust, we need to surrender into what we know is true. It doesn't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter for how long, and it doesn't matter, for how many hours, right? When you know truth, even just for a moment, we need to surrender into what we know is true. And not only surrender, which is come to it, but also to follow the movement that arises here. So following the movement that arises in your heart more than you follow the movement of your mind. Because the mind is always going to have some commentary on that. The mind has a commentary on that innocence that naturally moves us and expresses itself as this movement in your heart. So when that movement arises for you, follow it, because that's what builds trust. It could be in small ways. Let's call a friend. Let's express this, gratitude, or let's say these words, or let's take this action, or let's share this. Even in small ways, when you follow what arises within that movement in your heart, that's how you grow in trust. Also, naturally, there's another, way in which we can more deeply surrender into what we know is true. And I just want us to practice this together right now. Let's take a moment to sit here, maybe even close your eyes for a moment. So when you sit like this, when you direct your attention towards the inner, what do you know is true? Or in other words, what is present? And just take a moment to rest into that. to really follow that on the inner, to really rest in that. And as you go into your day today, tomorrow, the next day, and when past arises here, when challenges arise, when there's a lot of reactivity in our nervous systems, when things become difficult, then let's remember this. Let's for a moment come back here, or for a moment remember or trust or experience what we really know is true. Let's for a moment, in those moments, instead of following what arises, let's trust presence. Just like that. And I also want to remind you that we are in the middle of a 3-week program where I speak about how to find peace and how to use the current circumstances to connect with the true purpose of this life, and that you can still sign up for these upcoming 2 weeks starting this Sunday. And let's just take another moment here together, just quietly, in silence, trusting presence.